Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with the whole gang. We were able to figure it out at a completely different time than anticipated, but we've done it. We've come together for our trivia era, and with me to talk about this episode is Michelle. How's it going, Michelle?
Good. I mean, ugh, what an episode. I don't even know what to begin with. Like, there's just I have just so many things that were exciting, but also aggravating and also confusing potentially.
Potentially. And Matthew, who has managed to managed to meet up with cable services to get cable and internet. Like, that's a feat in itself. Matthew, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I could never miss trivia, and I think it's I think it's honestly better that we waited till today because the social media blow-ups happening last night and today by some of these challengers might make this podcast a little bit more interesting. So maybe better that we didn't go live right after the episode because quite a few challengers were live and had a few things to say last night.
Well, I didn't end up getting to watch the episode till today, so you guys are both going to have to fill me in the discourse that was happening about this episode. I mean, I have an idea what the problem was.
I haven't seen a lot of what people have been saying about about that, so I'm excited to hear what went down. Like, I obviously can again imagine, but I haven't seen all the lives or anything yet.
Yeah, me neither. Were there any lives that you managed to catch, Matthew?
There was a few, yeah. I mean, Jordan was live, Devin and Naya and Nerys and Olivia were live. I think Cara Maria made an appearance. Tina. I think at the end of the day, we don't really know much more today because there seems to be a few different stories going around, and it's to be determined which is the truth. So the Derek contingents says one thing, and there's a lot of other people that seem to have their eyebrows raised and think that there might be some funny business going around. So we don't have a definitive answer, but definitely some speculation.
Now, you could just maybe let me know, does Jordan err on the side of funny business or things were fair?
Jordan does lean more towards the funny business side, and I think that is like not too uncommon for Jordan to be against production. So Jordan definitely seems to think that Horacio was potentially robbed here. And I think his biggest point was when you see a board with 40 holes in it, the pegs should be going in the holes. And Jordan did say, well, I didn't hear the rules because they only explain the rules to the people in the elimination in full detail. But it wouldn't make sense to have a board with 40 holes and then 40 pegs and not have to put the pegs in the holes, which to me is just common sense as well. So I think Jordan definitely has a point, but he is leaning more towards funny business.
So are they saying that there was a hole that didn't have a jack in it?
So they're saying that Derek is acknowledging this, that his boards seem to be malfunctioning a little bit and his pegs were falling out of the holes. So he, I guess, was either just placing the pegs wherever he could, or there was a referee or production that was placing the pegs for him when they would fall out. And they weren't necessarily doing that for Horacio if anything fell out. So obviously, like if there's a malfunctioning with the board, that sucks. But it's also more energy for that Derek's able to save up by not having to replace pegs that fall out. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, Derek is very adamant that he won. He was going to win regardless, and he had won by 90 seconds.
90 seconds is a lot.
But there's no way, like, the reaction from the people seemed like everyone didn't understand what happened.
Yeah,
So that's
the
where I'm
really strange
confused.
part is like Derek's saying he won by 90 seconds. Meanwhile, other people are saying that Kylan said that the entire elimination only took 2 minutes. So there's no way he won by 90 seconds if the elimination only took 2 minutes. Other people are saying that Derek won by milliseconds. I can't remember who it was. Ryan Kehoe went on live or did an Instagram Q&A, and he said that it was within like 1 or 2 seconds. And Derek seems to think he won by 90 seconds. So
90 is a
very
long
unclear.
ass time. Like the whole competition was probably like 90 seconds. No, it wasn't. But
Yeah.
like,
Kylan
that's
said that
long.
the women took about 20 minutes and the men took about 2 or 3 minutes. So there's no way if they took 3 minutes to finish the elimination that someone won by 90 seconds.
Maybe he meant 9 seconds or
No,
like
he
0.9.
definitely 90. Yeah.
That like a minute and a half is long.
Yeah. So we're just getting a lot of different stories here. I think at the end of the day, like I'm on this side, and obviously we don't know everything, but it definitely feels like there's some funny business. I don't think it was necessarily rigged, but I think there was a very big miscommunication on the rules, or production screwed up with one of the boards and helped out way too much. Rather than like fixing the issue, they just kind of stepped in and helped out. And Horacio was definitely not happy. Like he's not doing his exit press today. He announced a few weeks ago like he was going to retire from the challenge, and I guess now we know why. Nerys is very much not happy. She is like sounding off on social media. On Twitter, she's just going off, and Rachel is defending Derek. Nerys was getting into it with Rachel. It's been
Who's
it's been
getting
pretty
Nerys
exciting.
and Rachel?
Nerys and
Nerys and
Rachel.
Rachel.
Rachel saying Derek won handily, and that there was no issues there. And then Nerys is clapping back, saying she doesn't care to interact with people that just suck up to production. Clearly about Rachel. So yeah, Horacio has yet to say a thing. I'm wondering if we ever hear anything from him about it, or if
He's
kind
a
of
quiet
nice guy.
Vlad. I'm sure that he's worried about if he does want to maybe come back, if he says too much. Like, I don't know if he knows how to play this little dance with the production. So,
and I don't even think he necessarily cares too much. He is someone who is invited on lots of different types of competition shows, it seems, and
like,
and whatever.
Nerys's show, though, right? So
I understand, but I feel like he is more so, what seems to be concerning for him is like his reputation as a athletic person, because he talks about how, like it's gone. My first season was my best season, and then I didn't do as well last season, and now this. It's like, I think that is like plaguing him more, that he would, and then to watch it back and be like, oh wait, maybe I actually did win or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess if you're a pro athlete and you want to compete against the best, and then you're having your image being tainted by production interference, I guess I could be irritated, but that's why we can't call it a sport, right? Because sports have referees, they have fairness, like they have different classes, and so it's not a sport.
Yeah, I think for me, like the biggest takeaway from everything that I've been seeing since the episode aired is that like a lot of people have reason to think that this is either rigged or not rigged. So I wasn't really taking into account like what Derek was saying, or even what Nerys was saying. Because obviously, Nerys wasn't even there, but she's obviously going to defend Horacio, as will Kylan. But to me, like when Jordan was saying it, it's like, why would Jordan have a reason to lie here? Like Jordan is just like, is a dick, but like he is pretty honest. And when production does do things that he finds unfair, like Jordan will speak up on it. So the fact that Jordan is kind of saying, yeah, this was a little shady, that's making me believe it more than what I'm hearing from someone like Rachel, who's defending Derek, or Derek himself, or Scott Yeager. Like, I respect all of those people, and Nerys and Kylan, but they have more reason to kind of be on one side, whereas to like Jordan saying it, it's like, all right, well, why would Jordan say this if it wasn't true?
Well, it's kind of why I was asking, like, what does Jordan say? Because he's definitely the fairness police in these eliminations, especially. So Sam B says, but it also took the judges an hour to decide who won. So it seems messy to me. And Horacio thought he won when TJ says you have to get all the jacks in the hole. Derek had thought he lost. So, okay, so what must have happened then, if you're explaining to me all the speculations and stuff like that, is that Derek had put all the pieces in his board, but one of his pieces fell out before the buzzer was called, basically. And then Horacio put his piece in. All of his pieces stayed in the board, and then then they're trying to decide
yeah, because it seemed like also when Horacio like put his last one in and it looked all perfect. Right before that, it had shown Derek with what looked like 5 or 6 of them kind of falling out. And then it didn't show Derek's finish until after Horacio's. So then it seemed confusing. So I agree with you. I think it's like maybe Derek was technically first, but things were kind of falling out.
Well, okay, but we never saw, unless I just didn't notice, that Horacio had the experience of his jacks falling out, correct?
Yeah, so apparently he did. Like Horacio did have it fall out. It wasn't as frequently as Derek. So, but Horacio was like having to retrieve the ones that fell out on his own, whereas Derek had like somebody in production that was picking them up and putting them in for him. So that was like one thing. And then Derek did also say that Derek didn't even know that he had finished. So Derek saw that he had empty spots in the board, and he was like looking for the pegs. And that's why Horacio was also like walking, like he wasn't racing at the end. He was just walking to place it in, because Horacio would look over to Derek's board and he saw that Derek had all these blank spots on his board. So Horacio thought, okay, I obviously won because Derek has 5 blank spots.
But like what
so
must have happened is that
Horacio.
maybe they were in, but they had fallen out. And when he was putting them back in is when Horacio's put his in, and then they and they fell out again.
Yeah. So Horacio took his foot off the gas because he assumed he was up significantly, when really, I guess Derek had the pieces. They just weren't in the board. But Horacio didn't know this until the end when they announced who won. And then Horacio was just like, well, what the fuck? Like, I was looking at his board and I saw he had all these empty spots. So it's just a whole mess. I actually liked the elimination a lot, but it was very sloppy with how the results came. And I feel like, I mean, it didn't seem like that difficult to just have a board that is functioning properly. So I don't know how they screwed it up this royally, where now we don't really know the truth, and it's all just kind of speculation.
They always tend to do that, right?
Won.
Like maybe they did that on purpose. They have his board be faulty so that they'd have a way to be able to be like, it's not rigged. He had a faulty board, but then they could help him in the end. Like maybe that was their ulterior motive. I'm not sure. But Matthew, you do sound a little bit crackly. So maybe try bouncing out and coming back in and see if that will fix it. That's usually like a StreamYard thing. But yeah, you just sound kind of like crackly. Bye. It's like, get out of here. So abrupt.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of what was the confusion. Because
I understand now.
And I agree. I don't think they would intentionally rig it for Derek in that way. But I think because it was this sort of, are we going to go with this or this? Like technically Derek did have them all or whatever. Like, what are we going to count? Is it fair? Is his thing not malfunctioning? Like, and then they made this decision, you know? Yeah.
So Sam here thinks that production just messed up and went with Derek. I think also, Derek is one of the faces of the challenge, does all the podcasting. He's a company man. And so it's not the best that I think that they didn't expect him to be going in, because they didn't expect that Laurel and Bananas would make the decision that they did. And so I think that they want to preserve Era 1. I don't think they want Era 1 to just get decimated.
Not right away, like,
Let's see. Do you sound any better today?
Any better?
So far, I think.
Sounds
See how it
okay.
goes.
It's
It's
better.
definitely better than it was.
It's definitely
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
But let's talk about.
I hear a bit of a static like my headphones, but I can hear you guys just fine. I just hear that little bit of a staticky as well.
But now you sound, I'd say, like 96% better than you did before.
Yeah.
So it's great. Thank you for popping in and out. Okay, let's just talk about this episode a little bit. We'll get back to this faulty elimination. That's one thing that frustrates me about the challenge is that they do things that make us be like, is it rigged? Like, why are you doing this? Do you think they do that for the controversy of it all, to have people talking about the episode? People saying, is it rigged? Is it not rigged? Like, why do you think that this happens all the time? I just want to say that, and then we'll get into the episode.
I don't think it's that. I just think like they can be very like irresponsible with some of their competitions. Like I don't think they purposely want to like create controversy because it is like negative on them. I think it's honestly just more like, hey, we think this will look cool, but like they don't do the best job with functionality. Whereas like a show like Survivor, like very clearly does do a great job with functionality. Like they have this whole dream team, and I wonder if like the challenge needs to do something like that where they simulate seasons and every single elimination is like very deep, is simulated in a lot of detail. But I don't think it's on purpose necessarily. No. I did hear what you were saying before about like Era One being decimated and they maybe not wanting that. For me, I think it's honestly more, and Nerys did kind of allude to this as well, that the people on Era One have bigger appearance fees. So it's like, hey, if we're going to spend all this money to get Derek, why, like, if it is like close, like, why don't we like help out a little bit here? Because Derek costs, let's say, 50K to show up, and Horacio costs 10K. So if you're going to spend 5 times the money, like you maybe want to keep those kind of people
at least
around
an episode
more.
or two more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Austin here is saying there was a misunderstanding of the rules. Apparently, Horacio and Jenny thought that you had to pick up your packs if they dropped. Anisa and Dara thought that you didn't have to, and they were told by production.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't remember if it was a voiceover or if we actually saw TJ explaining the rules. But my understanding is if you missed the ball and you had jacks in your hand, you would put them by the line or whatever to make it a further distance to be able to grab later on. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And so wait, what's the pick up your packs if they dropped?
Like if they drop from the board once you already got through and you're putting them up. It's like exactly what happened. They're saying like Derek and Anisa thought you didn't have to fix them and put them back up because you already put it in the hole. And if it fell out on its own, well, it was already there. You already got that one. Got it. Which is like, kind of ridiculous.
Somebody already logged that was in already.
Yeah.
I also think
I guess
it was weird because Anisa didn't seem to have any issues, and like a lot of respect to Anisa. I think she actually performed very well. But I wonder if the issues with the board started when Derek tried to get too many pegs and he crashed into the board, and then a bunch of pieces fell out. And to me, like if I'm Horacio, that's why I'm upset, because if that's where the issues came from, and they also picked up the pieces that Derek knocked because he messed up and ran into it, that to me is unfair. If it's an issue with the board itself, like right off the bat, that's maybe another story, but it just didn't seem like Anisa had issues and she used the same board. So I'm just wondering if Derek hit into the board and then maybe like a piece broke off, but it was more because of something Derek had done. Unless maybe Anisa did have the same issues and they just didn't air it, but we didn't see any issues with Anisa's board.
Or she lost, so there was nothing in contention. Like it was a clear lose, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Like maybe a little bit closer, maybe then we'd be having the same conversation.
Well, but Anisa was very close, right? Like, didn't Anisa come down to that like last
yeah, she was super close.
But like it was clear who won though.
It was clear who won.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she had a missing piece or something like that. Like it was clear that she lost, but by 1 or by a second, whatever it was.
Yeah, like Anisa dropped the ball and Jenny was able to win. So yeah, I guess it didn't come down to like literally 1 second. But yeah, Anisa did do some exit press, and she had said she didn't really mention anything about any controversies. I feel like if there was any, maybe she would have mentioned it, but I don't know. I think there's going to be more coming out in the next few days, and honestly, probably a few weeks and months as well.
I'm sure that there's more because people kind of been complaining a bit about the season. And so probably as the controversies come up, like we'll hear a little bit more why people are maybe dissatisfied with how the season goes down. Haley here is saying the discourse over this elimination really is just wild to me. This isn't the first time something faulty has happened, and it'd be unfair for Derek to lose because of it. True, but like fix it. Start over. I don't know.
Yeah, I
agree.
Like, I mean, I agree about like it's not fair to Derek, which is why this whole thing sucks. Because like like I was saying before, we just don't know what is the truth because production seemingly made a mistake here. To me, though, this is very similar to in season 38 when Mariah was against Nani. Um, and Mariah, they had to do like the spelling, but they had to place the pieces on like the letters on a board. And Mariah was beating Nani, but her pieces kept falling off the board. And then Nani was able to come back. And then Mariah, when she was putting the pieces back on the board, had an issue with the spelling because she was just trying to rush to get the pieces on the board. And to me, it's like, all right, well, how come Mariah was not like having production help her put the pieces back when there was a fault in the system? But now Derek is. Whereas, like, to me, like, the only explanation is, well, similar to what I said before, like, Mariah does not have a big appearance fee, but Nani probably does. So it's just weird to me that the people that are not understanding the rules or not getting the full rules or the full help from production are the people with those lower appearance fees, which is just kind of what is making me raise my eyebrows.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I've always been the one that's kind of like, I don't trust production. And you're a little bit more of like, no, production wouldn't do that. But I'm always like, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, we do talk about also the fact that it's considered a game and there's gaming laws and stuff like that. So they can't necessarily rig things for particular outcomes because that goes against whatever gaming law stuff. But bending with what happened a little bit, I can see them maybe doing something like that if they want to keep someone in the game for whatever reason. So I don't know. I've never been that trusting of production, and they always seem to do things that are sketchy. Stop it.
Yeah. Honestly, I was reading some of these comments about all the Laurel stuff, and it's just making me remember all the things I'm angry about. So
well, it starts off this episode with things to start bubbling your anger about here with our girl or our ex-girl Laurel. You see her talking to John A in the beginning, and she's saying F you, Darrell, I thought that we were good. And so she's happy that she's going to be in the line of fire with Johnny. So what's going on with Laurel and Darrell? Like, when did they start having some sort of friction, or why do you think that he chose her? Like, is he team Cara? Do you have any insight as to?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Like I don't think there was a beef. I think it was just that he wasn't going to say Aviv's name, and he is closer to Cara. Obviously, he was her first partner. And then it's between Emily and Laurel. And he probably knew Emily from before and probably had, so picked Laurel.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense for sure. And I guess like if she had really thought about it, then she might realize like, oh, I guess I really am the only choice here. But we do get another CT pro tip this episode. We got two, I believe, this episode. This one is don't do too much when the game changes. And he's kind of played the Godfather and, because now there's targets and stuff like that. What do you think of this pro tip of CTs?
Yeah. I guess it is the thing that's continuing. I mean, he's not saying wrong things,
Yeah, he's definitely not saying anything wrong. Matthew, you were saying that you don't know if you want to see these pro tips go on. Should this have stayed in the think tank, or
Yeah, I mean,
would you?
I'm just kind of over like CT just saying like the most generic things ever, and like uh it being like a CT pro tip. I thought it was like funny the first episode, and now it's just like, all right, well, yeah, all right, CT pro tip, don't do too much. All right, thanks, production. I think they're maybe just overdoing it a little bit at this point, but I mean, who knows? We'll probably get two more every episode that he's around for until the
He's around
end.
for it. You don't think he's going to get to the end?
Oh, I think he could probably. I think he could get to the end, but his team is a hot mess. So I don't know like how long. I feel like we're gonna stick with the teams for at least a little while longer. So I definitely worry for him. And now that him and Darrell have got their backs all flaring up, I don't know like physically how much longer this team is going to be able to last. I think they're destined to see a lot more eliminations because I just think era 2 and era 3 are so strong and are like very clearly going to be working together a lot of the time. Um, so I worry for a lot of era 1 and era 4, to be honest.
So what do you think about Devin thinking that Era 3 is still stacked, and he's really thankful that Jordan volunteered to be the target, and that they have a rotation for this target position? What do you think about that whole bit?
So I'm confused. Did I miss something? Like, had Devin already volunteered before Jordan?
I don't think so.
So why did he say? Why at the end was he like, Corey? It's the rotation, not a good look. Why? Neither of you had volunteered yet. I'm so confused by that. Can you please explain this to me? Why did Devin assume?
I wrote down the same thing.
Why is Devin assuming Corey's next in line before him?
Well, I think maybe
Why?
Corey said that he would go next in the rotation.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
He must have said that and they didn't air it.
Well, they didn't air it, so
it was weird though because they aired Josh saying it, so I don't know why they wouldn't air Corey saying it, knowing that Devin was going to be upset later on. It would have made more sense to just air that as well. But yeah, it must have been off screen where Corey said like he would go next and then just bounced out.
Oh, sorry, it's this one. Era 1 looks shaky. These old people are going to break. No, don't.
Yeah, I definitely worry. And the thing is, we saw the clip in like the season preview where like CT was yelling at Tina, and then we saw it in the scenes for next episode. That is going to be what's happening next episode. So I do wonder if Era 1 is maybe going to lose next week. And if we get CT and Tina in elimination, I'm going to be so devastated if we lose, honestly, either of them, because those are two of my like top tier people left. But I do think CT and Tina, based on the previews, are going to be the losing team and in elimination automatically, which really is not fun.
Not fun at all. Boo. Yeah. Gribble Grabble thinks that Era 1 is an absolute mess. Yeah. I mean, I think that it really didn't help that there was the Era Invitational, that they lost two people right away before they kind of had an opportunity to gel. I think that Jody would have been a really great person. Even Mark would be a great person just to have just getting the oil and the gel of the team and working together. They kind of just started by losing two strong members that like would help the team for sure, especially in some of these dailies. So I think the Era Invitational really hurt Era 1, and then Jody losing the next thing.
Yeah, Jody losing's big. I think what really hurt Era 1 is I just don't think on the male side, like obviously CT's very well rounded, but I think they were missing someone that's a little bit more of like the level-headed person, like that can just kind of handle like directions, puzzles, things like that. Like I think like someone like Yes, if Yes was there like, instead of Brad, let's say, I think that would have just been a lot better for them working through these challenges. With Brad is like a bit of a hothead. He's like honestly a little bit past his prime too. So I think they're just missing that kind of person there.
He's like, I'm the same age as Era 1. Are you telling me to get a freaking walker? Oh, it's so hurtful. But it's true. What they're showing, it's not a good representation of us folk. us aged folk, lived folk. So Jenny is really supportive of Anisa, and I do find that this episode, even a little bit the last episode, we're seeing a little bit more of Jenny's personality. She's having conversations with Anisa. She really likes her. We then find out about Anisa's injuries, the fact that she ruptured her ACL, she tore her meniscus, and she sprained her MCL. These are actually terribly serious injuries. I remember in ballet class that a girl, we were doing across the floor like dance, and she landed like a jump wrong. I heard the pop and the scream of her ACL, and she was done dancing forever. It was awful. And so I know how badly that hurts, and the rehabilitation is like almost a year. So she definitely did damage to her knee. But I think it's because she wasn't in great condition when she was putting her body through that stress in order for her to be able to make such a terrible injury. From what we saw, she wasn't like jumping and leaping and falling on her knee. Like she was just kind of running on terrain. And I think it's because she was out of shape that she didn't land properly, personally. But you guys might have different opinions there. You might have thought that, she's super fit. No. But have you guys had any of those injuries?
No, but they sound horrible. And I mean, I think, she seemed like much better in better shape this time, for sure.
Well, when they repair your ACL, like you basically get a new friggin' knee. So her knee will be better functioning for sure than before. But if she's still going to have like weight, if she's still not going to have the muscle around the knee in really optimum shape, like she might get another injury just because she doesn't have the muscles to support the area around the knee. So yes, the knee's really functional and it works really well, but she's going to have to shed some weight and do some, muscle toning.
I mean, the videos showed her like working out a lot. So I think that she has been working on it. She's probably a lot stronger than she was
coming into the season, or
because remember it showed clips of her like working out at home.
Yeah.
Mary says Tori lost Anisa. That's a win in my book.
I thought that scene with Jenny and Anisa was a really good scene. And like, I really like what Jenny was saying there, where it's like, hey, like fit, like I look like this because it's my job, but like fit looks different on everyone. And like, I really like that from Jenny. And like, honestly, like it's more relatable to 99% of the fans watching than like most people don't look like Darrell
Jenny
or Horacio. So it's like, I honestly think what would maybe help Anisa more is if the challenge stops just casting people that look like they're professional athletes and casting more kind of normal people. Because I feel like Anisa probably gets too much hate, and others as well, but I feel like Anisa gets a lot of hate because she looks different than most of the people on the show. When in reality, like she looks great compared to a lot of people off the show. But with the show trying to be more of like a fit sports, they're also casting people that look like Horacio, which is just not like a realistic person. Like he is like sculpted from God. But I did like that from Jenny.
Absolutely.
I
That
agree.
fit doesn't necessarily mean six pack. Absolutely. We could tell by Anisa's endurance in the elimination challenge that she is able to at least hold her own against Jenny, who you would think would be have better endurance than Anisa does. So I totally agree, but I'm just saying with wear and tear on the body, additional weight does lead towards injury at times. When I was doing the training last month, and we were talking about different injuries, and there was a guy that did tear both of his ACLs, and we were talking a lot about how just doing yoga in general was going to be strengthening the area around the knee so that you'll be a little more limber, a little bit more agile, you'll have a little more control so that you will not have a recurring injury. So I'm just saying that the injury may have happened because she wasn't as fit and her body was not necessarily able to hold the weight for her to be able to do certain things. And so that's just from like a physiological perspective, but I do agree that you can't necessarily tell where someone's fitness level is by their weight alone, for sure. Like, not at all. I don't even weigh myself anymore because that's makes me depressed. So Josh and Tori are talking, and he wants to hear her out, or she wants to hear him out, and I'm like, I thought that it was Tori that was the hurt Josh, and Josh is doing all the apologizing and the talking. And
she was like, I'm not mad, like I forgive, or whatever she said. She said something about not being mad, and I was like, but you weren't the one. He was the one mad at you. But
yeah, because you were like making fun of him for the fact that the girl that he had a little bit of a thing for was making out with somebody else right in front of you, and you're making fun of me. That's why I thought that he was upset. And then she brought in the fact that she threw him in an elimination a couple of seasons ago. But no matter what, it didn't seem like Josh did anything wrong other than saying that he didn't want to be friends with her anymore.
Yeah.
So I felt that that was Tori just kind of being a little bit not hypocritical, a little bit like needing him to make her feel better about a situation that she created.
Yeah.
Like she created the whole thing. But anyways, he apologizes. He really cares about Tori. He really loves the alliance that they have. His alliance spans across multiple eras. Do they have anybody in era 2, or is that the only era they don't have somebody in?
Well, they kind of have bananas in a way.
I guess adjacent.
I feel like Bananas is mostly in with them. Thanks, Hannah.
Is anybody else like just Banana? No, not Laurel, not Derek, not Ryan. Yeah, I guess it's just Bananas.
Era 2 is kind of weird because a lot of the people on Era 2 just like haven't really done a lot of seasons. Like Aviv, Emily, like none of them really are in with anyone. So yeah, it's really just kind of Bananas that has played with the new school people. Laurel a little bit, and I mean Cara, but Cara is obviously very much at least at this point not with the Vacation Alliance. So yeah, it's really just Bananas.
Yeah, I guess. So I mean, he's definitely a big help over the eras. So the Vacation Alliance definitely has a lot of power, I would say, in this game, as we all suspected, anyways. We saw this cast being dropped. So Horacio is not in a really good place right now. Nerys is gone, and he doesn't really want to be there necessarily, but he wants to pull through for Kylan, which is great, but we haven't really seen Kylan and his friendship at all this season. Is it because Kylan's like hanging out with Naya too much?
Yeah, they like talk about it, but I mean, I guess like maybe it's just not super compelling TV to see like Horacio and Kylan like playing Scrabble or whatever. Like I don't know what else they would be doing. Like they're not going to be talking shit.
Scrabble. Like out of all games, I don't think they're going to be playing Scrabble.
Oh, I can definitely see them. Yeah, chess. Like they'll like. I feel like that's what they're doing. But like Horacio's not going to be like talking shit. And I mean, with Nerys not there, like obviously like he's not romantically involved. So I just don't. Horacio is. He's never going to get a lot of airtime for those reasons. So I just don't know like if it's compelling enough TV when there is like way more going on with this cast. So I mean, Horacio could have stayed for 10 more episodes, and I don't think we would have got much out of him.
Do you think we'd gotten any more confessionals?
Like he would get like those like the Casey confessionals where it's just like, hey,
like, I mean, I prefer his over Casey's.
I like Horacio. I just let's be real, like he is pretty boring.
He is.
Super boring. Oh, but as Mary says, he is beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, he is. So we get to the daily challenge, and we're down to 30. We went from 40 contestants to 30. TJ gives congratulations to Avery and Darrell for winning their elimination and choosing the next targets. And it is trivia. Yay! Kylan apparently loves trivia. How are you two with trivia? Are you trivia people, or are you not necessarily for the challenge, but in general?
I'm the kind of person that I would know, but then in the moment, I forget everything. So no, I'm not very good at trivia.
Yeah. I'm like pop culture trivia I can do, but then when you start throwing like science questions at me, I'm just like completely a non-factor there. So it's like if it's themed trivia I could do. Like something like this, I think I could do. It's like mostly challenge related.
Yeah.
That, yes. But like history, science, like no, I can't like think on the spot like that.
Yeah. And do you like go to trivia nights? Is that something that you guys like, or are you guys like no?
I don't know that I've been to
No.
one, to be honest.
Really? Oh, trivia nights
Yeah.
are actually pretty fun. You
I
usually
would
get into
go.
like a team, and like sometimes you can try to figure out answers of the trivia questions with your team, and then the team that wins will win like a jug of beer or something like that. So trivia nights are actually kind of fun. Kind of fun.
Honestly, if it was the challenge trivia, I would feel like I could contribute as a team member. Maybe. Although
you would
sometimes
be
I
able to
forget
contribute
everything.
more than like
Yeah.
things about musicals and
Oh.
plays and like what I
True.
mean, like so you might find a category that you would excel at, which you'd probably
I will say the trivia that they did for this,
pretty easy.
I knew everything pretty much. Maybe one or two of like the places or like locations I didn't know, but
Yeah.
I was like, I remember all these things, but also because I've watched it, not on it.
Yeah,
so.
the only ones that were tough for me were like, what ocean were they swimming in? I'm like, how the hell would I know? Or like, what
Yeah.
river was this taking place in?
Yeah, I likely wouldn't remember that unless I remembered the location, and I'd know geographically what seas were around there, but I don't know if I'd be able to pull that out in that time frame at all. But this trivia challenge is called Cradled Cranium. Have you guys ever played Cranium, the game?
Yes, I have.
Which
I love
is fun.
It is fun.
Have you played Cranium, Matthew?
No.
Cranium is kind of like, it has like just a bunch of different, it's like little gauntlets of things that you have to do. So, Pictionary, but like you'd have to make it with like clay, or you'd have to hum a song and they have to guess it. Like there's just different kind of tasks like that you do in teams. It's fun. Very fun. So they're going to be suspended 30 feet in the air. Darrell didn't seem to have any problems with the heights today. It's because he was cradled?
Yeah, I think it's like the way, the angle of it, you were really like held in, maybe.
He felt safe?
Does Darrell usually get like squeamish with heights over water, or is it just heights like on buildings?
Oh, maybe
I
it's
don't
over
remember.
water. He doesn't feel as scared. You're right.
Yeah, like for me, I'm like that too. Like, I would freak out anything like not over water, but over water I could do. So I wonder if I can't remember if Darrell does freak out over water though.
Which one? So was it over water when he quit a couple seasons ago? What was that season?
I don't remember. Spies Lies? Wasn't that one? No.
Yeah.
Double Agents? I don't know.
Austin here is saying, pardon?
It was All Stars because that's when he went in against Jordan. Like he just put himself in the elimination.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking. It was one that had Amber in it. When Amber was with Chauncey. Okay. So I guess it was Ride or Dies.
Oh, yeah, it's Ride or Dies, yeah.
Austin says apparently production wanted to see them higher, but so many people complained they decided against it. So 30 feet's pretty high. That's fine. Look at the injury that you got out of CT. Like, what's wrong with the production? They really want to hurt these people. So they're going to be categories. We have geography, history, love stories and hookups, throwdowns, random, and challengers in the wild. Which category would each of you guys dominate?
Hookups.
Yeah, hookups. I think challengers in the wilds. I can't remember which ones came in there, but
and maybe throwdowns as well. Like you kind of remember some of the big fights.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, anything challenge related, like if it's not just about like the countries where the things happened in the challenge, like I think I would do pretty good.
Someone says that Darrell quit the Skyscraper Run Challenge on All Stars 3.
Yeah.
So the skyscraper. Oh yeah, the one where John A won when they're doing like Harry Potter trivia, basically. That one. So that's what I'm saying. Like I guess they haven't been above water, but he has been freaking out. Hollis says that they've seen Darrell squeamish over water. So maybe he took me up on getting some hypnotherapy and he healed himself. All right, there's 10 questions that are $100 to $400. Is it 10? That doesn't make sense, but we'll just erase that. If two players are going to drop if you're wrong. Now, was there any understanding on how the players that drop were chosen?
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that too.
Yeah, I was so confused by that.
Because it was never the person that answered wrong, I think. It was, maybe it was at some
but
point.
there was a
Obviously at
couple
some
times
point
when
it
it
was, but early on.
was. There was a couple times
And I
when
remember
it
like
was the person
Kylan and Jordan answered wrong, and then two other people were eliminated.
But I agree with you. I thought that was how it was, and then it looked like it was. But then I saw one time that the person that answered the question went down. So maybe they were the last guy standing or something. And I was like, oh, maybe it's two guys that go down. And I'm like, okay, no, it's not two guys, because sometimes it's a guy and a girl. And then sometimes it was the person on the end, but then sometimes it was like, so I don't know. I was trying to find a pattern, and it seemed like there was no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
So maybe we just didn't see the full explanation, but maybe it was like that you would choose who was going to be dropped. Maybe.
I wonder if they just kind of did it completely randomly to like catch people by surprise.
Okay, for instance, let's just go through these, right? So Corey and Jordan from Era 3 goes first, that they showed us anyways. And he has $100 history question, or 100 points history question. And who was the first solo winner? And Jordan says Wes, which is embarrassing. I can't believe
that's so rude. Come on, Jordan.
And the people that dropped were Corey and Naya. So I was like, okay, so the person that asked the question does not drop. It's two other random people from their team. But then the next question was from Era 4. Josh answered, and it was 400. And it was for throwdowns as a category, and is in the duel 2, who had a heated argument that went to blows at the beginning of the season. And he said Darrell and Derek, which have they had a fight?
It was Darrell and Brad, I thought.
Yeah, Darrell and Brad, I know that they had a fight when he got the Shiner, but that wasn't even in that season. But
this is a CT Adam fight, I thought.
But yeah, CT Adam was the answer. I actually thought it was Beth and Tina, but then I was like, wait, was that the duel 1? A regular duel? But anyways, that's what I thought it was immediately. But then I was like, oh, right, of course it was CT and Adam. But Josh and Olivia were the one that fell on that one. And Josh read the question.
I was actually surprised that the show acknowledged the CT and Adam fight. Like, I thought they would just like, apparently that episode is like taken off of Paramount Plus. So I was shocked that they showed the clip. And it's like, oh, like everyone loves CT now. So I was surprised that they showed even that little clip of CT as like this like maniac chasing down Adam. And obviously a very iconic moment in a bad way. But when they actually showed it, I was honestly pretty surprised, because I thought they just would want to.
Oh, it was the people on the edges, and then they would like go slowly in.
I thought that as well, but then sometimes it didn't do that. Like, I thought it was the people on the outside, but then it didn't happen at some point. I don't know. The next one is Anisa from Era 1. She wanted hookups. And who was Kendall having a showmance with? Did you know this one, Michelle?
Is this The Miz? Is that one?
Yeah, it was The Miz. I would have probably remembered if I thought about it, but I did not remember.
It wasn't like top of mind. I remember being like, wait.
I just watched that season. I just rewatched it like 2 weeks ago. Very good season. The Inferno, I believe.
The first one?
And yeah, Kendall was a low pro iconic character. I'm shocked she only did one main season, but I really liked the Kendall and Miz relationship. So I would have got that one now, but I don't know if I would have necessarily remembered it if I didn't just watch it.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't top of mind. But when I saw like The Miz, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I remember like The Miz was like everybody was into him, and like he was just like the #1 draft pick for all the girls, all the girlies. Next one was Cara. She picked hookups for 100. And who was Berna coupled up with? This was so easy, I thought, but I guess she doesn't watch the show anymore. It's Nelson, of course. Like, that was such a big deal with like her and fighting with Ashley over the Nelson and all that drama.
Yeah, but I will say my first thought went to Emmanuel just because of like more recent, like, she
Emmanuel
did have
on that season, but he was with Michelle then, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
Wasn't he?
the most recent season that's been on the air, Berna was hooking up with Emmanuel. He was remember he hooked up with so many different people and she was one of them. And
Wait,
it was like
I
acknowledged
thought
after.
he didn't hook up with Berna. He hooked up with
He did.
Colleen.
And
I thought Berna was just mad because they were friends and like I don't remember.
That's what we all thought until the end, and then they showed clips of it. Of them like
I can't remember. I don't remember.
I don't know if they fully I don't know what that means, but it showed them together like under things and stuff.
Oh.
Bit of a side note, a friend of mine just sent me Horacio just posted officially. So his official statement is too many factors out of my control. I had this immense pressure of proving myself as a challenger, but not anymore. I'm sorry, but thank you. That's all he said with a picture of, you can't see it, but it's just a picture of himself in black and white. So that's all Horacio is going to be saying, I think.
Yeah, and I think that it's because he is a competitor that wants things to be fair. He wants to know if he tries hard and he works hard at something, he will accomplish something, and it won't be left to producers' discretion. And I think that he just learned that it's not your physical capabilities isn't going to measure up to what the producers want to happen. Yeah, tough lesson. But people want to play, like, they want to play the producer's game, and I don't think that Horacio is into it. Yeah, I get it, but that sucks. Sorry, Horacio. Next up is Tori has a question for 100 about throwdowns. And like, why does she get this one? Who says, but what season was Big Brother Sucks said by to Josh or whatever? And I was like, of course she's going to be able to get this question correct. Annoyed me.
Yeah.
It's her bestie, Dave. So she got that right. Kylan goes for the $400 answer for geography. And so it's what body of water were they swimming in bloodlines? He thought it was the Red Sea. It was the Pagan Sea. I don't know. I've never even heard of that sea.
I've heard of it, but I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known that one.
Yeah. But Kylan was trying to go for the $400 question to be the hero, and he flopped. That's not good. Not good. And so for that one, Jenny and Casey dropped, and the two before that, Cara and Aviv dropped, and Cara said the question. So there didn't really seem to be actually any rhyme or reason. What other question do we have here? The first hall brawl. Derek gets this one, gets it wrong. So yeah, he thought it was CJ and Zach, which I do remember that hall brawl from Battle of the Seasons. But what was the actual first hall brawl?
I actually didn't remember this. Who was the first one?
The actual first one should be Wes and Big Easy, which is, I believe, in the same season, but earlier in the season.
Right.
Oh, like the first one?
Oh, wait.
Oh, because it's talking about who, not which season.
Yeah, I believe it's the same season, though. So it was Wes and Big Easy, and then I can't remember the women that did it because it was Battle of the Seasons. It was who's the woman from Austin? She just did one. Yeah, Lacey and Cara. So it was those four. I forgot Lacey's name. Sorry, Lacey.
Oh yeah, Lacey.
One episode wonder, Lacey.
Okay, Jay West is saying something here, and I want to know what you guys think about it. So he wants to know if this is a safe place.
Of course.
He likes Tori. Our high schools played against each other. LOL. So I have to cheer for her. Lols. Yeah, I get it. You have to cheer for her, but we might be annoying to you then. So sometimes you're allowed to cheer. You have to like who you like, but then you also have to be able to stomach us not necessarily agreeing. Okay, the next one question was who was Leroy's rival? We all got this probably. What season did Nani and Casey meet? Which Australian city or which season had an Australian city as its background? I don't know if I'd remember this one. Fresh Meat. Did you remember that was in Australia?
No, I actually didn't. I'm not good with the location ones.
Yeah, I couldn't do the location ones either.
What about the first season? What that Darrell won? I guess it was. Who did he get into a fight with on Inferno?
Yeah,
usual.
That one could do.
Who? Say again.
That one I knew immediately as Veronica.
Your girl. Who plays the fiance of someone on The Hangover? I mean, easy choice would just be to choose Jamie Chung because I think she's the only person that's done any film and television work. The colors of the Colombian flag. Theo got this right, and I was like, oh, is Theo a little bit smart? But I feel like some people from the UK know things about stuff that happens in Europe. Like they get a little bit more Europe knowledge. So I was like, okay, good. I guess it's not really Europe, but they know more. They travel more. I don't know. They seem to know stuff about flags and stuff more than North Americans do. But I was impressed that Theo got that one right. What's the next one? Safety. Oh, who pulled the safety harness off of Veronica's?
Could never forget that.
Ever. Oh, yes, that makes a lot of sense. And he was in the Olympics, so he's familiar with flags. Absolutely. But I do find that just geography-wise, a lot of people from the UK just do a little bit better. Or they suck. Like, if they're just dumb as can be, like, that's one thing. But I do find that a lot of the international players, they just tend to be a little bit more worldly with their flags and countries. Like, I don't think I would be able to... Because there was one, I don't know, I think it was the challenge where they had to like put together like a map of like Africa and put like the different, I don't know if it was the challenge, but like I would have absolutely no idea where to place all the different countries in Africa. Like I just would never ever know. But then they would figure it out. I'd be like, I'm impressed. I should probably study that if I want to get on one of these shows. Who else do we have? When did Zach and Jenna meet? Obviously we got that one. Altercation, Pastigate, we got that one. I mean, what I did like about this is that what we've been asking about for a lot of these different trivia challenges is that it was pretty challenge centric, so we could play along, and that's what I found enjoyable about this one. When it's kind of dumb questions that we don't care about, sometimes they're funny, but I do like being able to play along. Like, what are your guys' thoughts about this this trivia?
It's my favorite one because it was actually about all the challenge and stuff, and I liked it. I think maybe some of the questions could have been rigged. Like there was definitely a level where certain ones were harder and easier and whatever.
It could have been levels though, because it was like 100 to 400, so maybe it was actually more difficult, but they didn't show like the number value.
And also a difficult challenge, kind of impossible challenge for Cara to throw if she wanted to make sure that Laurel and Bananas lost. She couldn't really do that in this challenge, which I think is interesting considering what's going to happen next week, you know?
Mm-hmm. I was surprised that I can't remember whose question it was, but they didn't get the 500 episodes because it was such a big deal. Like if I was on that season, like I'd probably would have like 100% remember. Era 4 gets out pretty much first. That makes the most sense. They've never seen any of the seasons, I doubt. And then there was still a few more questions that they showed. One for geography, the starting point, the Hercules thing at the Rock of Gibraltar. I'm like, I had no idea. Did you guys know here in the chat?
No.
No idea. I thought this was funny. The cousin fight over a bakery.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that moment. That's one of my favorite challenge moments for sure.
Jenna and
I appreciate them giving them a little bit of a shout out there.
We also talked about the next question with Banana's backpack being on what TV show. I remember when I saw it. I think I messaged both of you, didn't I?
I saw it because I was obsessed with Yellow Jackets. So I was like, oh my God. But you might have also messaged.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I saw it, I was like, that, when we're coming to like the zeitgeist of the challenge is on a not random, but like a TV series that's current. I was like, that's pretty epic.
But also they were so clearly trying to show what year it was by that choice. because that show jumps around in different time
Fair.
periods, like 90s towards, early 2000s and up. And I was like, yes, like I know what apparently like what time period that is, so it's great.
I definitely enjoyed seeing the challenge because it's still, I feel like not that many people know what it is. I'm shocked anytime when people are like, oh, so you talk on podcasts like about what show? And I'm like, well, the challenge, or like, what's that? And I'm like, really? It's still a what's that? But yeah, I guess so. Last few questions. So what city in Brazil was for the duel? Emily got that one right. I was pretty impressed. Buzios, Buzios. I didn't write it correctly. Battle of the Sexes. Which Jamaican city was it in? It was in Montego Bay. I did not remember that. Married couple that was on Ride or Dies. Can you believe that I could not remember Kayla and Sam? I was like, I've watched the season recently.
Oh, I forgot that as well. And I was like, oh, right. Yes.
And like, it's not like I don't know who they are, but like really they have no impact to me on the season. I guess they went out first as well, but I didn't think of them as this like married couple, And so Emily, when she was about to fall, she's like smart enough to not allow her to be flung back into the water. And so she holds onto the bar and lowers herself down, which I thought was really smart. Another question that I got was John A won which show? This was Challengers in the Wild. And you guys both probably knew this too, right? Endurance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have either of you actually watched it?
I've never actually watched it.
Do you know who else was on it? Not from the challenge.
Oh yeah, Jonathan from Survivor.
Ding, 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 ding.
I did know that. I actually did know that. Yeah.
The next question that I thought that people would get was which challenger was on So You Think You Can Dance? And they did not answer that one. I was like, come on now, the thirstiest one of them all. It was Asaf. Because like he was on So You Think You Can Dance, and then he was on the challenge, then he was on Big Brother Israel, and then he was part of the pit crew from Drag Race, and I think there's even one more show that he was on. So Jonathan who? Jonathan the big buff guy that was on 42 of Survivor. He was on when he was a kid. Jay West says that Emily is the best girl in the era. I don't care. I love her.
Agreed.
LOL. Laura messing with the wrong one. Oh, we're gonna get to that soon. I don't think I've watched Endurance before, but I think I watched Endurance before, but I didn't fully watch it. Somebody, I think it was maybe Drew, was doing like a rewatch of it, so maybe I'll check out his rewatch or something. And which Road Rules person went into politics? I kind of remembered, I just wouldn't have pulled his name. So at this point, everybody is gone. Like they weren't able. So Era 2 had like a pretty big lead, just against Jordan, but Jordan finally drops, and then Era 2 was just not able to come up with the correct question. So everybody ended up going into the water, and so it's going to go into a sudden death round, 1-1. So if they both got that correct, would two other people from their era go up, or were they just doing it 1v1 against the two of them for the whole sudden death? Do you know?
I don't know, but it was so clear that like Jordan the whole time had been trying to throw it, like the way he answered earlier with Wes, and then here, like he was trying so hard for them to lose, and still it had to go to sudden death. That kind of made me laugh.
Well, the question was, which season did pole wrestle debut? The duel, and then it was to name Devin's rival in Rivals 3, and he gets it wrong, and so that means that Era 2 is going to be the winner. We're safe. F you, Darrell decides to come out of Laurel's mouth. Is this when you started to? Is this when you were sending me the messages about her, or no, not yet?
No, not yet. But I already felt this way about her before. Like her behavior is just, this wasn't cute, but it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
I think Laurel's got some like very serious issues going on, like inside herself, and she might not be in the best place to be on a season of the challenge, given whatever. I mean, we know a little bit about what she was going through with the Nicole of it all, but I imagine there's got to be a lot more because she is just coming into the season like looking to destroy people and is super nasty. I mean, we saw her go after Darrell seemingly for no reason. We see and know that she's going to be going after Cara very viciously very soon. So to me, like, it just does not seem like Laurel is in the right headspace to be on a show. And it's becoming to me more like I think Laurel's mostly entertaining, but it's becoming more like scary than entertaining. Like I'm
Yeah.
genuinely thinking she should not be here. Um, because like going after Darrell like that and trying to accuse Darrell in a way of being unfaithful or whatever she was trying to insinuate there is just so not cool. And I'm glad production showed the clip
Yeah,
because
so
if people were just
basically,
speculating, it would have been
Laurel
bad.
says like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're just getting massages from Emily when you're married, and that's why you decide to pick me to go in." And I was like, "Ooh, that's a low blow, bringing in somebody's relationship into the into your argument, into your winning, taunting of him." Yeah, I definitely thought it was a poor taste. But Brittany wants to know. I'll say to you, Matthew, like, what's the difference between Laurel going off and Amanda going off?
Well, I think it just depends like what they're saying and like what they're doing. Like, I mean, if Amanda was coming on and saying, saying, let's just use Darrell again as an example, or Derek, if she was saying that Derek was cheating on his wife who's at home with their kids, like I think that is completely different than just going after Tori and not liking her. Like if Laurel just went after Cara because she didn't like her, cool. But from the things that we've kind of seen and heard about what Laurel is going to be doing to Cara, to the point where Cara has to leave the house to get mental health care because Laurel attacked her that viciously. I think that's like a different line than Amanda or anyone else like prying and
It's
like trying to get
yeah.
on people's nerves.
It's the tone and what she's doing and saying. Like, yes, Amanda pops off and like says, you know, these things, but it's so clearly a fun drama type thing that she's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. It's so vicious the way Laurel is doing it. And it comes across like just, ugh, it's not it. And like, then they
Yeah,
show a clip of Emily doing like a professional style massage to Darrell that is not in any way intimate in that way. Like, it isn't even like she's giving away something that happened. Like, it's very clear that nothing like that was even remotely going on. And it's just,
yeah.
ugh, like, oof.
And I think the thing is like it's also a matter of like Laurel tries to often punch down where like I think Amanda it's a little bit more
Yeah.
endearing because it like kind of feels like she is the
It's like,
underdog and she's
Yeah,
like
that's also
punching
true.
up.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's like Laurel just is kind of going after Cara to be nasty, where Amanda is kind of going after Tori because she doesn't like her. And if Tori was at the point where she was like bawling her eyes out, and Amanda's like saying things to her like, you deserve to be abused because you're always the victim, blah, 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 which is allegedly some of the things that Laurel has been saying about Cara, then it would be like, all right, Amanda, like this is not cool. But Amanda doesn't really do that. Amanda can be definitely vicious in a different way, but it's more in good fun, I think.
Yeah, and as you said, she's punching up to Tori, who has so many people on her side, is strong,
bigger,
is
yeah,
winning
taller,
stuff,
like
is a winner, is like all these things. Like she's punching up to that. So yeah, you're right. Like that is a huge part of it too.
yeah, definitely. I think that that's why I agree, Matthew. I think that's a pretty good take on the fact that Laurel doesn't need to be so nasty to everybody because she's kind of on the top, you know, like she's strong, she's feared, she's asked back, like she's done well, she just won.
And
So
like the sorest winner, like at where we're at, and like when she wins and she's just like, haha, like the way she is, like it's not even funny. It's just like it comes across like being such a sore winner. I don't know. Bad taste in my mouth, but
Jay West says Amanda's been a hothead since already the one. I think that she got sent home before the season ended, but I love Amanda. We love Amanda here. We're Amanda stands for sure.
I'm just like trying to think, like looking back on like some of the stuff Amanda does, like yeah, like Amanda comes in and like she'll fight with Michelle, she'll fight with Tori, but she doesn't like say anything like completely out of pocket. Like yeah, she
maybe
said
the
to
horse
Michelle,
stuff.
Yeah, that was not cool, but she apologized for that 5 years later. But like she said to Michelle this season, like you're just gonna come in here and like suck a dick to advance in the game. Like to me, like that is like not that bad. Like, yeah, okay, like it's maybe like a little bit too much, but it's different than Laurel, just like actually attacking Cara Maria for like very deep and personal things. Um, so yeah, I think Amanda is like definitely more. It's more entertaining. Where like Laurel just feels like very dark in the way that she acts in the house.
Brittany says, I love you guys, but come on, being mean to someone because you're a worse competitor is not an excuse.
Yeah, no, it's not an
point.
excuse. It's just we're explaining why it's different. It's coming across differently.
I think there's a difference between being mean and being like outright vicious, though.
Yeah,
Like
I
these are
agree.
people. Like people, like we don't want to see everyone be nice. That's what makes the show boring. So if you just cast 20 people, 40 people that are just best friends and they're just a volunteer to go in elimination, we would not be on season 40 because the show would have been canceled 20 years ago. So I think you need personalities that are not just friendly and nice, but there's a different, like I've liked Laurel for most of her challenge career. I just think she's coming in this season in a lot of a darker place.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah, I think
it
she
feels
just has
much
her
more
own.
personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sophie says, does
Yeah,
anybody remember when Laurel ripped into Big Easy for no reason?
yeah.
That wasn't great.
I've gone so up and down with like really supporting her and liking her, and then she does something and that I don't agree with, and then I don't like her. But then, with the Big Easy stuff, I feel like she had acknowledged that that wasn't good what she did. But when it comes to the Cara stuff, she does not. She defends everything that she says, and she doesn't like acknowledge the pain that she's causing or like the hurt that she might be causing. So I don't know, it just feels different, but that's a personal thing. Everyone can have their opinion, obviously.
Yeah, and it feels like the way that Laurel does it is in more of a bullying style, and Amanda is doing it in a little bit more of like a scrappy, mouthy, don't mess with me type style. Like I just don't feel like she's it. However, she doesn't land as nasty and hurtful as it does from how Laurel delivers these things.
Mhm.
I think they could probably maybe even say the same exact things, and just the way that Laurel delivers them, she just comes across nastier. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not fun to watch. Maybe that's what the point is.
Yeah.
Is however Amanda's doing it, I can take it. And if she does something that goes a little bit too far, I'd be like, okay, I think that might have been a little bit too far. But with Laurel right now, it just seems like everything that she does, I'm like, ugh, just stop talking. Like it doesn't look good. And a lot of people have been commenting on this has been a very bad season for Laurel, that a lot of people have not been interested in what she's bringing to the table.
Yeah, I mean the proof is in the pudding. It's like from what the other people are saying on the show, everyone is down on Laurel. Like everyone on this cast is basically tiptoeing around like what Laurel is doing is like completely unacceptable. But then you hear people talk about Amanda, and Amanda, they say like, "Oh yeah, I actually love Amanda. Like she's super nice. Like when you're actually with her, and yeah, she can be like nasty towards the people she doesn't like, but she's actually like a very pleasant person." Meanwhile, like all these people on the show are saying like, yeah, Laurel, like the way that she like is behaving towards Cara is just not okay. And we're like hearing that from other people that are actually there. So I definitely think like Amanda just plays up to a persona as like the devil, and she's kind of going after the people that have power because she doesn't want those people to stay in power, which I think is why a lot of fans appreciate Amanda too. But if it ever crossed the line where Amanda took it way too personal, then I think people would sour on Amanda as well.
Brittany says, I'm fine with Laurel because I truly believe that if her target was the Vacation Alliance, I don't think people would care.
But I think the point is that her target isn't them. Her target is someone who's already doesn't have all the allies, and like she's punching down. So if she was hitting at the Vacation Alliance, she would be then punching up. So it would be different, wouldn't it? Like
I definitely think that people and how she would be like, she knows a lot of Cara Maria's, for instance, trigger points, right? Like, and so she goes and she kind of hits below the belt with her venom, and like she has to know that Darrell doesn't need to, like, isn't the person to be trying to ruin his marriage. Like, what are you doing, Laurel? Why are you bringing that into the fact that you just won a challenge, even though he threw you in or like put the target on you? Anyways, I just think that she's just not bringing it in the way that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's being hypocritical or not, because I'm not minding Amanda, but yeah, she's not making me feel good about her in this game right now. So we didn't mention, but CT did fall into the water during this challenge. We'd seen it in all the trailers, all that stuff. You guys taken off. We knew that he wasn't going to be out of the game, likely because we hadn't seen him yell in the challenge with his team. So we knew that he was going to be coming back. But when he does come back, he's kind of like they're playing the dopey uncle, and he says the only thing that he lost was his dignity, which I did think was funny, but I'm not sure how much more I want of them playing like the old people. Right? Like they're always joking, him and Derek and Darrell are just like, oh, let's get out our walker, and like, oh, rickety bones, and I can only lie on one side.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it personally, but I think it's endearing and like kind of fun, and they're playing fun at it. Like they're still obviously strong enough, but I don't know. It didn't bother me personally, but
when like the first season where they're like all old and they were in the water,
yeah,
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I just feel like now it's just like, it's kind of like how Kayla was always like, oh, they're old and I'm young, and like it's like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, when it's coming from them, I don't hate it. Maybe that's why, because it's coming from them and they're making fun of themselves. To me, I like that. But if other people are saying it, then I wouldn't like it. So I don't know. I don't know.
So Derek gets a Skype call with his pregnant, I think, wife at that time, or girlfriend, I don't know, partner. And Rachel also gets a Skype call, and she says in her confessional that it's no brainer that the winners of the targets that were the winning team, which was Era 2, which means that Bananas and Laurel, they are going to be choosing out of the two not losing but the two middle teams, who's going to be going in against the losers, which was from Era 4, which is Horacio and Jenny. And so she's like, there's no brainer that they're going to put Jordan and Naya against Era 4 because they wanted to knock out the strong teams. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a no-brainer too, and then I remembered, I'm like, wait, no, she has ties with both of them.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, there was no chance.
Mm-hmm. We get our club zone moment. We see Johnny Bananas would love to have one of Jordan or Horacio going home. Would you know that he doesn't? Johnny Bananas does not want to go against the best. He wants to go against the worst all the time. He wants to get to the end and he wants to win the money.
He just knows. It's possible that like he can tell also that like the way that Laurel is, especially in the season, and the way she has been, but particularly that like there's no chance that she's going to back down, and that she will be like, yeah, we're going into elimination then. And he's like, I'm not even going to try with that, which he does say. And also it's also a benefit to him in a way, because it makes it seem like he's still keeping a good relationship with Jordan, even though he would have thrown him in if he could have, if it was a different girl with him, you know what I mean? But it still works for him for now, but I don't know.
I kind of got the vibes that Bananas did not want to put Jordan in. I think Bananas wanted to keep Jordan out of elimination, and I actually think
he said that at the end.
I personally think it should be a no-brainer. Like, Jordan's available now. He likely won't be available to get out in the next 2 to 3 episodes. So I think it is a no-brainer. Just try to get him out there, and Horacio is someone that can do it. But I think Bananas deep down knows, like, hey, Derek will forgive me. But if I go after Jordan here and he comes back, like, Jordan's going to come after me. And like, Derek is like Bananas' puppy dog, so he can throw him in and he'll come running back to Bananas anyways. And I think like Anisa is someone certainly expendable to Bananas. So I think it should have been a no-brainer, but I think Bananas was smart to paint it as if it was Laurel's decision. And then she could just say, because Bananas just says then, like, I'm not going to go in. I'm sorry. Like, Laurel is adamant here, but I think deep down, Bananas was on the same page as Laurel.
Yeah, it was kind of best of both worlds for him in that way. that he could just be like, well, I'm not gonna.
So Sam says, but they're old. They are old people. I mean, to expect them to play on the same level as even Era 2 is wild. And yeah, they're making fun of themselves. I think it's funny. I think I'm offended just because it's my age group. Like, it's like I'm offended. But you guys are younger, so you think it's hilarious that the old people are rickety. But I think it's offensive. It calls me out in a way I don't want to be called out. Okay. So Jordan is coaching Naya to talk to Johnny and then to be saying about like Jordan and his relationship and how, they've been kind of working together a little bit, and like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And so they've been kind of playing around with how they're going to be attacking this chamber. But I feel like Jordan already knows that like she doesn't need to do anything, that it's already kind of locked.
Mm-hmm.
Corey and Devin think that Jordan threw it. So that is one of the questions of this episode. Did Jordan actually throw the challenge, or was he fine with losing because he knew that Laurel would keep him safe?
Well,
I think he knew that they were going to keep him safe. Yeah. Yeah.
So you think he threw the challenge?
I think he threw it because he knew Laurel would keep him safe. And he didn't want to have to make the decision. So he said, all right, well, Laurel and Bananas can make the decision. I'm going to be safe anyways. If what Corey is saying is true and he was at their baby shower, there's no way that Jordan didn't know Cheyenne's name. So I think definitely he had to have thrown it.
Okay, but just devil's advocate a little bit on that particular question. So it was asked, like, who was Devin's rival's 3 partner? It was Cheyenne. He said, what did he say, Cindy or some random name?
Sylvia.
Nobody's on the challenge.
No, he said Sylvia. So I wonder if, I mean,
that's it. Never mind.
It is possible. Maybe he did think it was Sylvia.
But then it showed the confessional where he went,
oh, he smirked.
Yeah, I forgot. And he smirked. Yeah. It was very obviously him saying he threw it.
Yeah.
Like, I felt.
But like, could it have been him just saying that he threw it because after the fact, I think he should have known the answer? You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if he was just playing like, like if somebody's on Big Brother and they're like, oh, I've been throwing all the challenges because they didn't do well.
Nah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't sure. Sorry, you're right. It was Sylvia. I think it was an S sounding, So Sylvia, I guess, could have been it, but like, how would Sylvia and Devin know each other? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But I could see him not remembering that Devin and Cheyenne were partners. Like, I don't think that they talked about that at the baby shower. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I thought he must have known, though. Like, you're in the challenge house for so long. Like, you must talk about these things. Like, there's no way he didn't know. Like, oh, Devin, what was your first season? Who was your partner? Like, he must have.
There's no way he didn't know that Cara was the first solo winner. Like, there's no way he didn't know that. He was on the season. Like, yeah.
Brittany says Corey's confessional was weird, but because what does Jordan being at Taylor's baby shower have to do with Cheyenne? Cheyenne is his other baby mama, and I think they were all there, or at least Ryder, their daughter, was at least going to be there. And so I'm sure they do a lot of family stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if Cheyenne was at.
Oh, I thought Corey was saying that Jordan was at Cheyenne's baby shower. Like what? Like
no,
5,
I think
6,
it was him and
ago.
Taylor's second baby shower.
Ah, okay. I assumed he was meaning he was at
2 children with Taylor and 1 with Cheyenne, or at least definitely 1 with Taylor, Mia, and I think they have a second child. If I could be wrong, but that would make sense timeline wise that it would be a little bit more recently because Ryder is like 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's why I thought Corey was saying like, oh, he has to know this because he was at Ryder's baby shower.
No, it was definitely Taylor's baby shower. I think it's just her most recent child. Like, he did it on purpose. I know it. Okay. So no, Jordan was at Taylor's gender reveal and Cheyenne was there. There we go. Okay. Yay. Whew, finally. Y'all, Jordan does not care about anyone else's challenge record beside his own. Okay, I don't know, but I think he would remember the first female because like he's also competitive, so he'd want to like steal that title or something. Oh, it's Maya, not Mia. Sorry. Okay, close. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're pretty close. And also, the only reason why Corey is on Teen Mom is because Cheyenne got on Teen Mom. So, yeah. Anyways, she is a part of his life, very consistently, I'd say. So yeah, in Jordan's confessional, he looks like he's lying. So maybe he threw it. Maybe he's pretending like he threw it to make it look like he's a big mastermind. Whatever. How do we feel about Emily having a date with Brad at the club? Oh, we lost Michelle. Okay.
I thought the date was really fun. I thought that was a really funny scene. It's just like such like an odd couple where like on one hand it feels super random, but on the other hand it like makes a lot of sense. I think they're just like they do kind of like match each other's freak a little bit, and I'm honestly kind of here for it.
I'm
And
here
they
for
seem
it.
to like be yeah, they seem like both like pretty like genuine people, and like I don't think it's anything serious, but it is like a fun little fling.
Brittany says, I get why Cheyenne is there, but I doubt they were talking about Rivals 3 5+ years later. That's what I'm saying. Like, would he have made the connection that Devin's partner was Cheyenne, who is also Corey's baby mama? Unless he said that that's where when they met, because I think that Corey met Cheyenne on Rivals 3 when she was partnered with Devin. Because they were kind of definitely the underdogs and people were rooting for them. They came back at one point, right? Yeah, and then they were in the final. So
no, I think it would be pretty shocking to have Jordan and Devin be on multiple seasons together and Corey, and for that to never come up. It would be pretty strange. So, I mean, if people like Emily know when the first pole wrestle was, I think it's like only fair to assume Jordan would know who Corey's ex-girlfriend and Devin's partner was on a season that lasted for 3 months.
Dabu says the only thing people remember from Rivals 3 is Bananas taking the money. Fair. And them having to run the challenge naked. I remember that too.
I like Emily and Brad. Sorry.
Okay. that was I asked you, Michelle, before we moved on. Like, hey, how do you feel about Emily and Brad's little date?
I'm into it more than I thought I would be. Honestly, like, yeah, they do have a lot in common.
I'll take it.
Not mad about it.
So Johnny is talking to Derek and Anisa and about how they have such strong relationships, and but then he is mentioning, he's just laying it in there like, but she has a really intimate relationship with both of those guys. And so Bananas is laying the groundwork for the fact that she is not going to put her two strong relationships against each other so that one of them goes home. And so I think he was just trying to be like, it wasn't me. It's these strong relationships that she has that I had to kind of abide by. We learned that Horacio wants to run the final with the best. I'm like, I love you, Horacio, but like this is just not it for the challenge for me. That's why I kind of like, I guess I don't want to say good riddance, but let's let bygones be bygones. And Horacio, if he does not return, that's okay, because I just want somebody that wants to like be cutthroat and get to the end and win, but I don't want someone that wants to go to the end with somebody hard. I want someone to want to be there, and so they're going to take out all their competition so that they can win. And if it ends up being all the strong people in the end, cool, but I want someone to be trying hard to get to the end and have a winning shot. Laurel also wants to keep in the strong men. Now I understand this logic for the fact that if they break up into, it becomes a solo event and you're switching around partners in the final, it is more advantageous to have strong men in the season or in the final to run with the women. So like I get that you want to keep strong men strong if you're a woman and vice versa if you're a man. So I do get that, but you kind of have to get there still, you know? You kind of do. Derek, CT, and Darrell are talking about how they want to weaken the teams, and so they think it's really silly if era number 2 does not want to weaken era 3 and era 4 because those are eras that are strong. So Nehemiah calls an era 2 meeting. He wants some camaraderie. Laurel kind of just wants to extend some courtesy to Jordan. He's definitely someone that has stood up for her. He's avenged people for her, and so she definitely wants to extend that courtesy back to Jordan. But everybody's like, Arrow 1 is not a threat, so why are we taking out people that are not a threat? Logic, but it's not really going to land with Laurel. She's basically said that she's willing to do anything for Jordan. Jordan must have a magic D or something, because like, why do people like?
No, I get like slight cultish vibes from him, to be honest, in terms of like, he's one of those people that could be a cult leader if he wanted to be, and sort of has this way where like all the women mostly that he's been with on the show who are still on the show, like they still have this reverence and respect for him, and this like they do things for him, they help him out. Like, I don't know. So there's got to be something about that, the charm
Magic
of it.
stick.
And yeah.
I think they have hooked up recently. So whose wedding was it? Was it Jenna's wedding? Whose wedding was recently ish? Like 2 years, max 2 years ago. There was a wedding that I remember hearing that they hooked up on, or they were talking to.
It was funny when Laurel's like, well, yeah, he avenged me on season 38. I mean, alluding to taking out Michelle, but it's like, hey, you know who Jordan's partner was on 38? Anisa, who you're sending into elimination. So didn't Anisa play 50% of the part of getting Michelle out as well? So it's like I'm not a big Anisa fan, but I feel like people on the show, it's not just the fans that discredit Anisa. I think people on the show do as well.
Yeah.
So to hear it's like, hey, like he avenged me. It's like, no, I mean, he and Anisa took out the people, and you're going to send Anisa in now, no problem. So
Exactly.
And Anisa did call that out as well.
Jay West is like, Fessy was good TV, though. He hooked up with the girls and turned on his friends. Like, come on, Fessy wasn't so bad.
I think
Messy
that's
Fessy
like
is
solid
fine, but
TV.
he wants to turn over a new leaf, and that's boring. And
Yeah.
like, the only Fessy I like is Messy Fessy. Same with Corey. The only Corey I like is Messy Corey. As soon as they're straight and narrow, they're just boring to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd agree he was pretty disrespectful with Amber.
And he gets so high horsey all the time. I don't know, that what annoys me about Fessy, but I'm not mad if he's back.
Oh, that's a new leaf for you, Michelle.
Well, yeah, because Laurel's so much worse now. Like, I'm like, yeah, fine, Fessy, come back. I don't care at this point.
Okay, so we have the chamber. I thought it was pretty funny that Derek had notes, but like there was nothing on his notes. Like it was just like a few words. I think someone zoomed in and it was just like a list of all the potential people. Like nothing. But he does talk about the fact that Era 1 is on life support. I chuckled though with his end here, and I thought he was laying out some good points. Jordan did come back with, hey, if we're more likely to win a challenge, we could also are more likely to protect you. So that was a good point. But I was like, what are we even doing this for? We know what's going to happen. Anisa, brings in winners, pick new targets. What am I talking about there? Brings in winners, picks new targets. I guess talking about the fact that, I don't know. I'm not sure what I was trying to say there. We do see another scene with Era 4. Jenny talks about how she hates picking targets. She doesn't want to pick anybody. So Josh then nominates himself. He wants to be the target next to make it easier on Jenny, which I thought was surprising. Naya definitely talks about how she likes Anisa and Jenny and doesn't want either of them to go home. I guess she knows that she's not going in. In the arena, we see Derek and Anisa are going to be going in. There was no real surprise there. There was no way that either of them were going to go to a stalemate. And we knew that Bananas was already bending or like laying the groundwork for not bending to Laurel. So we knew that was going to happen. So so was this the outcome you guys wanted, or would you have preferred if the two stronger teams went up against each other?
No, I definitely wanted Jordan to go in. I wanted Jordan and Naya. Even though, like, I was happy that Naya was safe and everything, but no, for me, like, it would have been more interesting to have Jordan and her go in. So that's what I wanted, but I knew there was no chance of that happening. So I had kind of resigned myself to the fact.
Brittany, it's funny how Era 1 went from we're the backbone of the challenge to we suck within 4 episodes.
Yeah, I definitely wanted Jordan and Nia to go in as well. I just can't stand like the like big names like skating to the end of the game, and just based on the format, like knowing now that Jordan will not be going in for at least the next 2 episodes, and then like also Era 3 is going to win challenges too. It's just like, all right, like come on, take your shot now. That's what I was hoping for. Whether he stayed or not, like that's like you said, like if the strong players win and go to the end, like that's fine. I just don't want to see someone like Jordan skate to the end because all the women are going to protect him in like the slight chance that they get to run with him in the final. So yeah, I was definitely hoping for that. Plus, I don't want to see Era 1 get decimated, even though like, I'm not like the biggest Derek fan. I didn't want to see him potentially go home. Again, I'm not a big Anisa fan, but I was hoping Era 1 would avoid this and let one of the other eras duke it out.
Hilarious. So they're going to be playing Pick It Up. There's 80 jacks, 40 jacks for each of the players. They're going to have to shoot a ball. The ball goes down a little contraption. They have to pick up as many jacks as they can, catch the ball, and then the jacks that they have in their hand, they get to put in this wall. So we've already kind of talked about this elimination. Anisa versus Jenny was up first. Jenny, we see, is winded, which I was very surprised. I didn't understand why Anisa, when Jenny was winded and standing around, didn't use this as an opportunity to be like, okay, I just need to gather up some energy right now and just do it just a little bit faster so I can win while she is taking a pause. She just never turned it on, which like just frustrated me because I was rooting for her to win, surprisingly. And she was so close, and you could hear even Tori being like, just go pick it up. And
I know.
she never changed gears. And I was like,
but
like I wondered, was Jenny just trying to give her a shot? Because
I thought about that at first, but maybe, but I don't know. I think that she seemed really like out of like was losing her breath.
She did say it felt like someone strangling her. So,
and someone said earlier that like she's like vapes and stuff, which whatever, like so many people vape, but I mean, perhaps that has something to do with it. If you're doing like, if they're going for 15, 20 minutes and just have less capacity there. I thought it was interesting how they talked about how she's like, yeah, like I don't shoot hoops. Like, you know, she's not really athletic family. She's not as athletic, even though she works out so much. So I thought that was like kind of an interesting.
Sorry, Debu. Yes, let's get rid of the strong players. We all want Ryan versus Josh versus Derek.
Yes, 100%. That would be my favorite final ever. I mean, Josh, I could take or leave it, but Derek and Ryan, if I could have Derek and Ryan in a final, oh my gosh, like I would love that.
Especially if it's actually a hard one.
Like, I know, like obviously Dabu's being sarcastic here, but the thing is, like, if we're just gonna get the same 4 people in the finals every year, what's the point of having the show? It's like, why are we casting 40 people if all the weaker players are just gonna let the strong players walk to the end? Like, to me, that is very not fun. It's like how many times have we seen CT, Bananas, and Jordan in a final? Like, let's see other people in a final. I think that's super interesting, actually. And it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, if it's just going to be Jordan versus Bananas versus CT versus one other person, it's like, all right, well, why did we have 40 people here to begin with?
Well, and also, like, I'm thinking about some of my favorite people that have won. Like, I really like Charlie, that's her name. What's her name? That one with Landon?
Oh, Carly.
Carly. I'm like, Charlie? It's not Charlie. Carly, you know, it was really hard for her. And it's kind of, I find it enjoyable. I always say that what I like about the challenge is just normal, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I don't care for when Olympians come onto the show and that they're really good, really fast, really strong. Like, that's not interesting to me. I like seeing regular people that maybe they work up to it. So, you know, Cara wasn't as strong as she was when she started, but she started doing CrossFit and working out. And so she became, these legends. But like I like seeing people try and then succeed. And so I would probably find it decently satisfying to see these people push to their limits here. And like they've never really experienced the what are you laughing at? Did someone say something?
Nothing.
Push their limits. Like I think that would actually be pretty interesting than seeing somebody that is very strong, that's done many of these finals, knows what to expect, that always consistently does well in the final. Like I agree with you guys. I would be interested to see how these guys do.
Also, the thing about the final is, like, at least in my opinion, like the final is the most boring episode of the season, because like the final, it's like you're just watching people do like checkpoints and puzzles. Like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, we're watching Jordan run ahead of everyone. To me, that's not that exciting. But the exciting part about the final is the journey to get to the final. So if the story of the season is the journey of how these underdogs can take out these big threats, to me, that's super entertaining and intriguing. Whereas if the journey to get to the final is like, oh, all the strong people are just
stuck together, protecting each other.
So yeah, we've seen that 20 times before.
Got to agree. It's all about the better story. What tells a better story, better journey, better arc. And it is the underdogs taking over the Davids versus Goliath. The Davids coming out on top and are able to succeed in the end. So
yeah, like I would rather 20 episodes of a good season and a final with less competitive people than a final with competitive people and 20 episodes of a bore just to get there. Like, to me, like that's a no-brainer.
Got you. I mean, I agree. People do. Oh, see, Global Goblin says this is how you end up with a season like 39. Yeah, I mean, 39 could have been okay, but yeah.
I actually like 39. So.
I know you. I maybe I have to rewatch it, but I didn't enjoy it when we're watching it. So in the beginning of Anisa and Jenny does miss the first ball and the second ball. Like, she's not good at throwing stuff. She talks about her parents being, I think it was music teachers. So athleticism and sports wasn't really part of their family dynamic. I believe there's a lot of them. I feel like she has like 9 or 10 siblings. But so she throwing the ball wasn't really in her wheelhouse. Would you think that she does like medicine ball throws against the wall and stuff like that? Like, you'd think that she would be a little bit better, but she wasn't. So I was like, oh my goodness, is Anisa going to be able to win here easily because Jenny can't even get the ball to start going down the contraption?
I thought for a bit, but
Tina calling Anisa Eliminisa. Okay, new name. I like. We see Jenny gassed out. She's wheezing. Feels like her throat is constricting. And Anisa, it looks like she misses the ball and the last ball that she needs to actually win. So then Jenny's able to catch her ball and get her last pegs in, and she wins the elimination. I feel like Anisa could, from what they showed in the edit, like she could have won, but she just didn't have the strength to be able just to take it up one little bit more and just succeed. I was disappointed. I did want her to win.
Me too.
What about you, Matthew? Were you team Anisa or team Jenny?
No, I really liked Anisa this episode and honestly this season, but I was hoping Jenny would win. Just, to me, like, I wanted the Vacation Alliance to lose a member. I think it's again more interesting to have like people that are more free agents. So I think Anisa did definitely put up a good fight. I was like, super impressed with her, and she wouldn't be my top choice to lose of the Vacation Alliance, but I do think that it's overall more interesting to have someone like Jenny, who is a bit of a wild card there, over Anisa, who's just so insulated with one group.
So then next we see Derek going against Horacio, and they are doing it a lot more quickly than the women were doing it. We do get the CT pro tip, when you're in the lead, don't be greedy, because at one point he was in the lead. Horacio missed the ball. He had to put his jacks to the side, and so this was an opportunity that Derek could have taken the lead or like extended his lead. Instead, he decided to pick up 5 of these jacks, and then he misses the ball so that he has to go put the 5 jacks further away. And in turn, it looked like he was going to lose. but we all know that it was a photo finish ending. They did not show any split screens of what actually went down. We talked at the beginning, obviously, about all the discourse and the commentary around how this elimination went, but apparently Derek won. And so Horacio is going home, and it looks like Horacio is probably not coming back to the challenge because he doesn't think it's very fair. So that's the end of the episode. Did we miss anything?
Did you talk about
Horacio will be back.
Yeah. While I was away, did you talk about the fact that Bananas was like, this is going to be hard, and he starts talking about his relation to the relationships with the people, and then he goes, Jenny, me and you have a special bond or something. And she kind of nodded. And I was like, is he acknowledging that they hooked up on Total Madness and they were a thing while he was in a relationship at the time? Like, is that what that was about? That was a weird moment.
Jessica here saying, is Jenny a wild card? Didn't her and Bananas hook up? I'm sure she'll be brought into the alliance.
So I actually think Bananas is not like he is affiliated with the Vacation Alliance, but Bananas is in an interesting spot because he has allegiances to all different parties. So I think if Jenny is tied to Bananas, it's still more interesting than like Anisa, who has this like larger alliance.
True.
Yeah. Bananas, I could see Bananas turning on the Vacation Alliance for sure. Bananas wants to be in with Era One, but he's going to go where the power is. Whereas I think Anisa will be like she'll be loyal to the end to Tori, Devin, Josh, Casey. Bananas is not going to be loyal to the end with anyone, and that is one thing I kind of appreciate about Bananas as a character. He's more selfish, which I think is a good thing in the challenge, and good for TV as well.
Mary says that Chris wants me to explain Tucker to him when he comes to the challenge. Okay, I will. When we have a mid-season catch-up, I will explain to him Tucker for sure. Okay, I guess lastly, just who is going to be the targets for the next episode, next round. Tina volunteers. I'm like, okay, were you only saying that you'll be on max 5 episodes? Like, what's going on? Or you're getting same 5 episodes as if you got to 6? Like, what's happening there?
I think it's just because it's her or Rachel, and Rachel has helped her out, so she's like, okay, I'll do it.
Right. I guess, yeah, there's nobody left in there.
At this point, there's no one else. I think she would have otherwise not volunteered.
Makes sense. CT from Era 2, it's going to be Emily and Nehemiah. Era 3, it's going to be Devin and Tori. Devin was pissed off, as you mentioned, Michelle, that Josh, who had volunteered before, all of a sudden was quiet as a mouse when it was time to volunteer again here. So Jenny ended up choosing Devin.
Well, no, Tori, he was mad at Corey. Which
that's Corey.
Why we were saying we didn't know.
And then Josh did the same thing to Kylan. Sorry.
Yeah, but with Josh, he specifically said, "I'll go." Like we saw him say that, and then he was like, "But honestly, I kind of lived for it when in the confessional when he was like, you know,
I don't want to go against CT.
Like now that I know CT, I'm sorry, but hey, I don't care. I'm safe." And I'm like, yeah, like the selfishness of that is also like entertaining, and it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, like,
yeah, I kind of loved it too.
Kylan being mad, who cares?
I loved Kylan being mad. I loved Josh doing it. I thought it was super funny. And but the thing is, I feel like Josh would have done it regardless. Like if it was like, say like Corey was in, Josh would be like, yeah, I don't want to go against Corey, so I'm just gonna bail out now. Or Darrell. I don't want to go against Darrell, so I'm just gonna back out. But I thought it was really funny. Also, I think I wish that you were not allowed to nominate yourself. Like, I don't like the self-nomination. I want to see that people have to actually make a decision.
Yeah.
It's just a minor gripe I have, but
well, I think Taj, that's what Matthew is basically saying, that he would have had an excuse for anybody that he saw being selected to go in. So
yeah, the only way Josh would have done it if it was like Brad, Ryan Kehoe, and Devin, because then Josh would be like, maybe I can win a physical against those 3.
Yeah, for sure. And so I don't remember when it happened, but Laurel was throwing shade at Emily. I remember it happening, but do you guys remember when that went down?
Yeah, it was with the Darrell, the massage thing.
That was that it, but wasn't there something else?
What something else is that we saw in a preview for next week. She is throwing the challenge so that Emily will have to go in.
Right. Which
she's like, obviously. Ugh.
Well, because we do get Emily saying that she feels like Laurel has it out for her this episode, and then we're going to see next episode that she was right, that Laurel does have it out for her. So I think that Laurel is a little bit jealous of if there being another attractive, physically dominant, competitive woman, and she tries to assert her dominance. And I don't think she can do it the same way that she can do it to Cara, that she's going to try to do it to Emily. But I think Emily might come out on top because Emily doesn't really take shit from, I don't think she's going to take shit from Laurel. So this could be an interesting showdown.
You know what I think, just based on the preview, I think Laurel is going to potentially try to throw the challenge, or they're going to think she's going to. And I think it's not going to work, but Cara is going to say, like, Laurel, I know you tried to throw the challenge. And that's why Laurel's going to freak out, because Laurel was yelling at Cara saying, like, don't ever accuse me of this. And I think it's going to be Cara accusing her of throwing the challenge. And that's what's going to lead to this big blow up. That's my guess. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait 2 weeks to find out. I think the next episode is going to be pretty dramatic.
Oh, there's no episode next week?
Yeah, there's no episode next week. Yeah.
No
episode.
Because the VMAs, right?
Oh, I mean, it's perfect because it's also TIFF right now, and so I can see a movie on Wednesday. Great. Okay, well, thanks, guys. Who's our MVPs this episode?
For me, I think it's gonna be weird. I think Anisa, even though she lost, I think really strong episode. And for the guys, probably Bananas. I think Bananas, like, being able to paint this all on Laurel and like still kind of getting his way is pretty good for his position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anisa, I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of anyone else who like shone in that way that I was like fully, because like Laurel won the daily and was like so awful about it. Yeah, Bananas and Anisa.
Derek and Jenny.
Derek is tough because like there's just so much like unclear about the
Controversy.
elimination for him, because like yeah, obviously he did well. And then Jenny, I think, kind of underperformed in a way. And again, all due respect to Anisa, like I think most people thought Jenny was just going to dominate that elimination,
and she did.
And the fact that it was very close, kind of bit of a hit on Jenny there.
Okay, W says Jordan got his way, no repercussions.
I think Bananas like also got his way without any repercussions, and
he had the power.
Yeah, and
like he got them to throw the challenge to them, so he had the power and he was able to get his way. I guess it might be Bananas. And Anisa?
It is tough to give it to someone that got eliminated. I just think it was like a very, like, I think she can leave with her head held high here. Maybe not MVP, but I don't know. Do you think Jenny is more deserving?
No.
I think Anisa's the most deserving out of this episode. I agree.
Also, like, Anisa is not going to be around any longer, so let's get her one MVP for the season.
Whoever has Anisa can have
me.
Extra points there.
Because my team is like, what? There's 1 or 2 people left, so.
Do you even have? You have what? Rachel left. Hold on. Let's just lastly take a look at who is left. You have, like, literally, who do you have? Okay, so you have Derek and Rachel.
That's it.
And Ryan.
Great.
I like all 3 of them, at least.
Yeah. Like that's, yeah.
If they can last a long time, I just don't know if they're going to get points. They might get to the end and they might win, but I don't know if you'll get enough points in the end to win. I think my team's still intact. Holy shit. Sorry, guys.
No, you have sorry, Bananas didn't get out.
I have Horacio? Laurel, Jordan, Janae, Bananas, Tori.
Oh, I also had Horacio, so.
Olivia, Devin, Avery, and Brad. No, my team's intact. See. Matthew, you still have CT, Jenny, Darrell, Michelle, Corey, Tina, and Josh. And Fanta still has Emily, Theo, Cara, Kyland, Naya, Casey, Aviv, and that's it. Well, I think Michelle's is an Era 1 team right now, basically on life support here. But thanks for chatting, guys, on a special time. and everybody here in the chat for joining us on this off time. Do you guys have anything going on you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
Just gonna watch some football. Football season's back, so that's about it.
I'm gonna go watch a TIFF movie. Yay!
Yay, TIFF.
That's it.
Apparently tonight, Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom, and who else? My friend who works there said they are gonna see, Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom, and Ben Stiller today are at TIFF.
Like they're coming, they're doing the red carpet.
I'm assuming,
coming out of the things. Okay, I'll go maybe.
One thing I saw, Rachel Robinson is actually going to be in Toronto doing like a workout class in the Spadina village, like Bathurst and Spadina. So if there's any Torontonians
Bathurst and Spadina don't meet.
Sorry, not Bathurst, Spadina. Spadina and
Port York?
No, Spadina and St. Clair. Yeah, so she's gonna be there. It's like $40 to go to a workout class.
When? This is like by my place.
Yeah, it's like not too far from me either. It's I think sometime in October or November. Check out her Instagram. But if there's any Torontonians there, they want to do a workout class with Rachel. She's gonna be here in the next few months.
Like, why would we be doing it? It's not outside though, is it? It's like in.
No, it's in like a studio, some studio.
What's at Spadina and St. Clair? What's there? Is there an F-45 there or something? I don't know. Okay, well, I'll look into it. We'll go do it, right, Matthew?
I'm probably out. I don't want. They're too intense for me, but I would love to.
Yeah, I will not. There's no way.
Maybe I'll go to Starbucks or Tim Hortons or something in the near.
I mean, I'll hate my life, but I think I'll do it for the plot.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So we'll see everybody in a couple of weeks. Ciao. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, chat. You guys are the best. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ciao.